Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. Today we get ready to dust off our whips and fedoras, while we also talk about how Fantastic Beasts can't find that box office magic, Xbox games are going to be as annoying as mobile phone apps, and David Cronenberg is ready to gross us out with a return to the body horror genre. Plus, Natalie Portman brings the hammer down. So, join us as we discuss all this and everything else that happened this week in Geek. Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace. Hello, my name is Kev, and if you're joining us for the first time, well, we are Geekcentric, a podcast covering the world of movies, TV shows, toys, collectibles, gaming, and all things Geekcentric. We're back with another edition of This Week in Geek, where we look at all the latest news and trailers from the Geekiverse. Of course, I cannot do this alone, so joining me on the program, we have a couple of Asgardian super goats ready to help me carry this show along the Bifrost from one topic to the next. First, he's always smiling, like literally right now, so we might as well call him Tooth Bearer. It's Nate.
Oh, yeah. For a second, I thought you were going to go with Asgardians. I thought that might have come into play.
That would have been good. Damn, that's a missed opportunity. I'm almost a little upset about that.
Next time.
And also, he's always stressed out about working hard to produce the best episodes possible for this podcast, so we might as well call him Tooth Grinder. It's J-Law, but you can call him Justin.
What's up?
How are we, boys?
Good, man. Good.
Grinding my teeth. I'm so happy that we got yet another Marvel. How many Marvel things do we need at one time? Are we that? Is everyone turning into me that they just need more and more Marvel stuff? Is that what's going on?
You know what? I think we might be getting to the point of any more might be hard to handle, but I'm certainly not feeling any overload just quite yet. But you know what I'm feeling a little overload from? I don't know what the weather where you guys is like right now, but it is currently snowing. I'm talking a foot of snow. I'm talking like accumulating on the ground snowstorm as we speak. And we are like beyond the midway point of April here. I'm sick of this. I think, after 2 years of lockdowns and safety measures and then this crappy weather, I am so ready to just leave this country for a brief second and go on vacation. I know I'm very excited. I'm going down to the most magical place on the planet, heading down to Disney for the first time since my wedding in February of 2020. So that's got me super stoked. So I wanted to know if you boys had reached your threshold, if you had any big trips or exciting trips planned for the upcoming future that you're sort of looking forward to as a change of pace.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're going to the most magical place on Earth. I'm going to the happiest place on Earth. Going to be heading to Disneyland just in about roughly just about a month away. And I am so stoked. I'm going with Darcy, friend of the show, brother of Kevin. That sounds very Thor-like, right? Like brother of Kevin. But I'm stoked. I mean, speaking of Marvel, speaking of the Avengers Campus is something I've never gotten to experience. So, getting to go to Disneyland. I haven't been to the land of Disney since I was really young. And so originally we had I think 2 days of Disneyland planned and 1 day of Disney's California Adventure, and Darcy was like, no, you don't understand. We're going to want 2 days at California Adventure. A lot of the stuff at Disneyland is similar to what you would find at Disney World, and obviously we've done Disney World quite a few times, so I'm really looking forward to that. And then I mean that's a side thing on top of going to Star Wars Celebration, which we're getting more and more news about. It seems like every single day with different panels coming up, getting to see first looks at possibly second seasons of a lot of the Star Wars stuff that we've been loving recently, and third seasons, and Andor series trailer possibly showing up, Jedi Fallen Order 2 trailer possible. So I'm going to have a lot to say in the next few months. I think we're all going to be actually pretty busy on top of all that. So I'm looking forward to coming back and bragging about that trip.
it sucks that, we've got one main member of Geekcentric plus, our Darcy's like family here on Geekcentric.
Yeah. Oh,
So only half the program is going down to this version of Star Wars Celebration. Then it's even wilder that, you're going down with a Hudson and it's not me. I mean, the world is just a crazy place right now.
That's how it is.
Yeah, it's better that one of the godfathers of Geekcentric is going to Star Wars Celebration.
Ooh, Godfather! I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. I'm sad. I'm sad I won't be able to tag along for this venture because I've never been to Disneyland. But that being said, I don't really have any near vacation plans. I'm gonna probably wait out till a little bit more of this COVID stuff kind of settles. It's happening so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But it is very funny though that we live in Canada and we get snow in the middle of April. Like, come on, we're Canadian. This is what we're used to. This happens. I definitely get it. It's definitely
still
exhausting
unacceptable, Justin. It's still unacceptable.
But hey, 2 years ago, we were going to Star Wars Celebration at this time. And we had an awful snow and ice storm that we had to deal with in the commute to Chicago. So I get it. The warm weather was a nice little tease for everyone. It's around the corner. This is probably it.
No, but Justin, we've been watching Moon Knight, and they've got the Ennead in there. There's a ton of gods there. We got Thor, that we're going to be talking about today. We got lots of gods in that. We got Eternals. There were gods going on in there. With all these gods, you think they'd talk to each other and sort of be like, hey, let's, Canada, let's give them a little break for a minute away from the snowy weather, right? Like, why don't we just kind of pull back? They've had a rough time with COVID. I don't know. Seems like nobody's communicating.
Sure. I guess Mother Nature is vengeful, and she's reminding us of the damage that
she's a cruel bitch. But, speaking of geeky things that we can talk about, we certainly do have plenty on the program. And so why don't we just start this cruise and take a look at the news? It's all about the details. Alrighty, our first story comes from Adele Ankers at IGN. Mads Mikkelsen has indicated that Indiana Jones 5 is returning to the franchise's early roots, capturing the original feel of Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom. And I'm sorry, I'm throwing in The Last Crusade there because that was pure old school original trilogy indie. So let's give that one some love too. During an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Mikkelsen, who is starring in an as yet undisclosed role in the fifth indie adventure, revealed a little bit more about what we can expect from Indiana Jones 5, as he admitted that the next installment will have a similar feel to the first and second films of the franchise led by Harrison Ford's bullwhip-wielding archaeologist. He went on to say that Raiders of the Lost Ark was one of my favorite films, and it just oozed that golden period of serials from the 1940s, and that's in the fifth film as well. Mikkelsen explained, teasing the next installment, that they're going heavily back to the first and second film and getting that original feel, that original indie, something dense and epic. James Mangold has settled up to take the reins on Indiana Jones 5, assuming directing duties from Steven Spielberg, who's on board as an executive producer. Mikkelsen praised the duo and noted a similarity in the way the two filmmakers approached the franchise, saying, "It felt like a Spielberg film, though it's obviously James making it with the same vision." Once again, while we don't know much about Mikkelsen's role in the film at the present time, we do know that Indiana Jones 5 will likely be Harrison Ford's last outing. I think we've heard this before. As the globe-trotting adventurer, the movie itself will conclude this iconic character's journey and see part of his history resolved, right after he's dusted off his signature brown jacket and fedora. The film is set to arrive in theaters on June 30th, 2023. Oh, man, I can't believe we have to wait over a year for this.
That's crazy, dude. It sounds like it'll be worth it, though. I mean, if they're going back to, what Indiana Jones originally was, and we're just almost like a soft reboot in a sense. They're saying that, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that didn't even happen. Don't even think about it. It's not a thing. And for them to kind of go on from this, to me, I think I'm mostly interested in the fact that it's James Mangold doing it, like directing it. I think he's such a phenomenal director, and it'll be interesting to see how, with Spielberg still involved, how Spielberg-esque it still will feel. I'm sure it has to because it's Indiana Jones, but if they can kind of find a way to even, I don't know, implement some more I guess, more modern elements into it. I think it'll be really, really fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think returning to grassroots is always a big win for these reboots. And you know, Nate, you always say it. It's the Force Awakens, right? And I could see something like that very much being the case here with Indiana Jones 5 to help maybe set up new stories in the indie-verse, if you will. That being said, you know, I think a filmmaker like James Mangold is influenced and inspired by Steven Spielberg, which is why he is doing this movie. So this is going to pay the right homage to, I think, the movie that helped shape him as a filmmaker, while also giving a new breath to the franchise that it's welcomed. I kind of wish the other movie that Matt Mikkelsen's in would do the same sort of approach with the Fantastic Beasts and the Harry Potter, where there's new sort of filmmakers, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But
we might actually be talking about that very soon. I did want to say, you know, you can see Spielberg's influences most specifically when it comes to Mangold's previous works, maybe on Ford versus Ferrari.
Yes.
I will say with Phoebe Waller-Bridge being part of the cast, I almost wish she had a hand in writing, just because of what she was able to add to the latest James Bond movie. I think she would be able to bring that fun sensibility to the film that you know, maybe 4 was lacking a little bit in. I'm not sure, but Mads Mikkelsen is certainly a huge boon and boost to the franchise.
Well, and I mean, come on, guys, like how. I would be so delighted to be wrong on this, but he's obviously going to be a villain role, right? Like, that's what he does. He's a villain guy.
Even in Rogue One, your favorite Star Wars movie, you know, he was pegged to be, like, everyone thought he was going to be a villain, and then when it found out that he was a protagonist, it was a surprise and delight. So who knows? It could be. It could go either way.
It's true. It could go either way, and I'm sure he'll bring it, you know, to the max with either. Spin he takes with it.
The only other thing I wanted to quickly shout out, because you talked about the idea of it being sort of like the Force Awakens-esque. Moving on from this, obviously, Indy, this is his last go. We all know it. Justin, I know you saw a tweet, and I saw a tweet, and I kind of just wanted to shout it out here. I don't know who tweeted it. Unfortunately, I can't shout them out.
So, yeah, Jeff Grubb on Twitter tweeted out this great idea, seeing how Ke Quan, with all the success and the sort of his revitalization of his acting career through Everything Everywhere All at Once, that the torch should be passed on to him, the older version of him kind of continuing those adventures, which I think is a really great idea to kind of find a new way to continue telling that story, especially because, you know, depending on how old you make him, like, I think that could work. That
would work. Bring Short Round back, dude. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I almost think, you know, if they're still filming this thing because it's not scheduled to hit for over a year, and with the success of Everything Everywhere, why not get him into that movie somehow now? You know, exactly. maybe they've already thought of it and they're sneakily doing it. You know, there's a lot of secrecy going around the movie. They're trying a lot hard to keep plot and everything under wraps. But I mean, do you still call it Indiana Jones, or do you call it maybe The Adventures of Short Round, right? Like, a movie without Indiana Jones shouldn't be called Indiana Jones. Sure. Much the same as, like, instead of recasting James Bond as a woman, come up with a great franchise starring a female spy. So, I mean, not quite the same thing, but I mean, yeah, I don't know if you can still have Indiana Jones 6 with no Indiana Jones. That would irk me a little bit, I think. But Short Round coming back is what the fans want. It's what the fans deserve. Well, and speaking of what fans deserve, I think the new franchise in the wizarding world of Harry Potter might not be quite that. Our next story comes from Pamela McClintock of The Hollywood Reporter, who says, Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore can't find magic with a $43 million box office bow. The story states that Warner Bros. Wizarding World is in trouble on the movie side. Fantastic Beasts: The Secret of Dumbledore opened to a tepid $43 million at the domestic box office over Easter weekend, after earning $20.1 million Friday, including $6 million in Thursday previews. It's faring a little better overseas, where it opened to $71 million for a global tally of $193 million. But that's on a $200 million movie budget. This is the third installment in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter spin-off franchise, and it lands well behind its predecessors. As franchises become ever more important to Hollywood studios, it remains to be seen whether this particular series can even keep going. In 2016, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them debuted to $74.4 million domestically after earning an A cinema score. The second installment, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, came in below that with $62.2 million. And then, which is, down 16%. And then Dumbledore came in 30% behind even Grindelwald. Both earned a B+ cinema score. The Fantastic Beasts series has never really caught on in the way Harry Potter did. Complicating matters here, there were plenty of behind-the-scenes drama involving Ezra Miller and Johnny Depp. There was also a slew of production delays due to COVID-19. But overall, do we think this is a case of Harry Potter fatigue? I know we were talking about maybe is there Marvel fatigue? Is this Harry Potter fatigue? Does it reflect on audiences being less than whelmed by the Fantastic Beasts series? Or is it something else going on?
I think it's definitely that second one. I feel like, coming off of the strength of the franchise as a whole and going into the first Fantastic Beasts, it makes sense why we're seeing this sort of trend downwards, in the sense that it's just they're not, I think people were hyped on Harry Potter coming off of the final movie and then wanted a little bit more, and they got it. Why this is how many movies? 5 movies, I'm pretty sure, that they're planning for this. It just doesn't make any sense that they're stretching what was literally, it was a book that is like one of the thinnest books I actually read the whole thing. That's how you know it's a thin book. And they stretched it out into 5 movies. I just don't understand.
I saw a great tweet that said, if this movie franchise was actually about Fantastic Beasts and where to find them, instead of, this really, unnoteworthy feud between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, it might be something fans actually cared about.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that this isn't Harry Potter, right? This is the Wizarding World. They're expanding the Wizarding World, and what they are trying to do is give more life to this universe, if you will, because that is what everyone's looking at, is their IP. What can they create a universe out of? And here you have Warner Brothers really overstretching the Wizarding World. This movie has a really great cast. Like, Eddie Redmayne is an unbelievable actor. Jude Law is great. And then you have Matt Mikkelsen in this as well, replacing Johnny Depp. And then you have Ezra Miller, regardless of whatever's been going on in his personal mental health. He's a good actor. I just think that the execution of this whole story of what they're trying to do here is absolutely horrible. I think, again, I referenced it in our last news story. You got to get JK out. You got to get JK there, maybe to provide a story like a George Lucas or someone that's very behind the scenes that can still be involved as an executive producer. Have some fresh blood, have some fresh thoughts, a fresh approach to the Wizarding World for today, outside of Harry Potter. She told her story. She did that story, right? So Warner Brothers needs to figure out what they're going to try to do here. Are they going to try to stronghold the movie rights or what? I don't think they can. I responded to a tweet wondering why HBO Max hasn't done anything in terms of a series or some sort of spin-off. And the reality is that I think it's because JK is attached to the creative rights. Like, those stories go through her. I just don't know if that's the right thing for this. Because if this is what it's going to be, then I think it's done at Harry Potter, like the Harry Potter movies and the Harry Potter books.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly going to be interesting to see. And I wonder, is it just that, like, setting it in early 20th century New York isn't as interesting and magical feeling as being in that, ancient land of Europe, and it just has that old lived in magical feel to it. And I certainly don't think it's a case of, like you said, Justin, we need to have Harry Potter and Hermione and Ron or we don't care, because, they have another property coming out soon, Hogwarts Legacy, which will have nothing to do with the characters we're familiar with, but will still be set enough in that world. And I am super excited to see how that game turns out, and I'm definitely excited to give it a whirl.
Yeah, I think the ingredients, it's kind of like Star Wars, right? A lot of Star Wars fans are totally, absolutely fine with, don't get me wrong, they're stoked when when Luke Skywalker shows up in some other properties. But I mean, personally for me, and I know a lot of Star Wars fans, we're ready to move on from the Skywalkers. It's a big galaxy. We can move on. Honestly, you need Hogwarts, you need wizards, you need maybe some fantastic beasts, a dragon, whatever, and you can put it anywhere in the world. Give me, you know what? In the fourth movie, we got to see other schools come in. Go to a different school. That would be awesome. I'd love to see what's going on with the Bo Batten people or the Victor Crumbs of the world, right? Like, give me those stories, because it doesn't. Again, we just need the main ingredients for it. Make it magical. Make it an adventure, but I think it's just about getting the right writers behind it who aren't just sort of going to seemingly just tank it like this series has.
Again, the school was such a huge part of the Harry Potter experience. It was a character upon itself. I feel like you're absolutely right. Like to have that missing element from these stories kind of hinders on the experience, but you can see how the intent is there to try to build out the world outside of Hogwarts, so that it's not just confined to schools and stories that are told with a younger age that need to live in schools and stuff like that. Like, I get what they're trying to do. It's just poor execution. They have a stacked cast that's just being really underutilized. And I honestly think that, David Yates, love him for the Harry Potter movies. Let's get another filmmaker in there that can add a fresh look and a fresh approach to it, while still paying homage, very much like James Mangold is going to do with
Indiana Jones,
Indiana Jones, right? So I just, come on, like, this should be a series that's failing. Like you said, Kevin, that game is coming out. Hogwarts Legacy is coming out later this year, and I think that game is going to pop, right? Like, it's going to rip. So people are going to love it.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm certainly excited about that. And you know what? Speaking of video game news, let's shift our focus to that world. This article comes from George Yang of IGN, who says that some Xbox games could soon have more ads, as Microsoft is reportedly looking for new ways for advertisers to insert advertisements into free-to-play Xbox games. This program is reportedly going to launch by the third quarter of this year. According to Business Insider, these ads could show up in such ways as rendered billboards in a racing game. However, they weren't able to be confirmed whether these advertisements would extend to avatar skins or video ads. That's the one I'd be the most worried about.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Microsoft reportedly doesn't intend to take a cut of the advertising revenue and is more interested in building out Xbox's advertising network, and is said to be trying to identify which companies and ad agencies to work with. Instead, the revenue from the ads will be shared between the game developer and the respective ad company. Microsoft reportedly also has some concerns about the potential backlash, no kidding, this initiative from consumers could look like, as console players aren't accustomed to seeing in-game ads, unlike mobile players. For example, EA placed in-game ads for UFC 4, but removed them after fan outcry. The company's also worried about securing its customers' data, again, no kidding, and keeping it out of other companies' hands. As such, Microsoft reportedly has no immediate plans to let advertisers use its data collected from Bing and other sites and software in order to target Xbox players. Lastly here, a Microsoft spokesperson said in a comment to Business Insider, "We are always looking for ways to improve the experience for players and developers, but we don't have anything further to share. Advertisements are currently limited to places such as the Xbox dashboard. In-game ads aren't necessarily a new concept. Former President Barack Obama even hosted in-game ads on EA games such as Burnout Paradise, Madden 09, and Skate when he was campaigning to become the next Commander-in-Chief back in 2008. Now, when I first saw the title, I got really, really worried, but this almost sounds more like product placement than it does what I originally envisioned being, you play for a bit, beat a level, but before you can start the next one, here, watch this 30-second clip, If I like a mobile game enough, I am paying the $3 for no ads, I don't want that popping up all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It hinders on the experience of what it is. But, to your last point there about Barack Obama, that's cool. But yeah, seeing product placement spread out through a game seems pretty, hand in hand with what to expect from the gaming experience, given even just things like, Grand Theft Auto, right? Like, just how many different sort of layers of eye candy there is, that there's real estate there for putting those advertisements in there, right?
I think if it's done tastefully and in a way that doesn't necessarily impact the experience of the game itself, in the sense of like, a sports game and it's on billboards in the background, that's fine. Don't influence your developers, though, to include things just in order to put in product placement. Don't have a moment where they have to pick up a can that's Monster Energy drink. Don't have a moment where they have to hold a Microsoft tablet or whatever. Like, I just don't want it to be impacting the storyline. So if it's in the background of a sports game or a racing game, that's not a big problem for me. I mean, you can see why this is such a big deal. Game Pass, in January reached 25 million subscribers. And so if this is a way to sort of kind of bring in those advertisers and they're seeing this sort of huge opportunity to get in front of those subscribers, yeah, it makes sense. But don't change the games in order to feed me product placement, please.
Yeah, I mean, if you can organically fit it into the story, that's fine. I mean, the last few video games I've played really heavily were like Red Dead Redemption 2 and,
Right.
Assassin's Creed set in ancient Egypt. So maybe those aren't the kind of games they'd be targeting. But even, like you said, Justin, a Grand Theft Auto, a billboard is fine. Even if a character needs to use a computer, it can be a Mac. But don't have it be like, oh, we've got to get on this mission. But first, I'm going to have a delicious Dorito potato chip. That's where it would really start crossing a line.
Yeah. I don't want to see a Papa John's in an Assassin's Creed movie, right? So
or in Uncharted,
right? Like,
or in an Uncharted
in an Uncharted game. Yeah. So like,
leave that for the Uncharted movie.
I feel like that might be okay because we got Sony behind that, but again,
No.
You could see imagine a Papa John's in Halo. That'd be great.
Oh my gosh!
But that being said, I think you hit it on the head there, Nate. It has to be done organically. It has to be kind of fed into the narrative. Like, we see people pick up drinks all the time and do things, and they're usually branded. That is real estate. That is advertising real estate, right? So, but what's really fucked up, if we think about it, is where that can or that item changes based on who's playing the game, based on targeted information, based on understanding, where it's like, oh, he doesn't like the monster drinks, he's actually more into the diet, low calorie, so boom, that's the skin.
Oh, that's freaky.
On that can. That's where it kind of gets freaky, right? Or you're talking about something and it becomes like a meal that they're eating, right? It's just, or you're searching something from your phone, like that to me is a little too violent,
targeted,
if you will.
Yeah.
Well, and then even crossing, even making it worse would be if there is a product in the game that your character does use, and then all of a sudden on you're searching through Facebook and you're getting ads for those products, and so now they're finding a new way to influence you and the things around you even more. I mean, at least they didn't say that it wasn't going to happen, but at least Xbox said we're looking into what the potential impact of those things might be. So it's at least on their radar. Whether they're really fighting hard to prevent it, we'll certainly we'll need to wait and see. Well, before we move on from the news, I did just want to really quickly stop for a second and take a look at last week. We had the passing of two really integral people from the world of comedy, certainly from our childhoods growing up. Liz Sheridan, who's best known as playing Jerry's mom on Seinfeld, passed away at the age of 93. And as well, Gilbert Gottfried. For most of us, he would certainly be most well known for playing Iago in Aladdin. And if you have a really raunchy sense of humor, you know what he did with the Aristocrats. But we won't talk about that on this program. But yeah, certainly sad to see. I mean, not especially, but with Gilbert Gottfried, that's three really well-known, really impactful comedians that we've lost just this year, in addition to Louis Anderson and Bob Saget. So definitely sad times for the comedy world.
Yeah, and it was crazy to think that when Bob Saget passed away, it was Gilbert Gottfried that was doing all these interviews and talking about Bob Saget, and now he has passed. It was like it's kind of eerie to a certain degree, but I guess it's just the way the way life is, it works in mysterious ways. Because someone posted a photo of Louis Anderson and Gilbert Gottfried and Bob Saget was
together.
I
saw that.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think that this year they all passed away. So yeah,
and it's I always try to look at like the tweets from the different people that kind of knew them best, and just Jerry Seinfeld just putting out the tweet of, Liz was always the sweetest, nicest TV mom a son could ask for or wish for. So that hit me, and I mostly know her from Seinfeld, but just in the sense of just these comedic legends, right? I mean, Betty White as well. Just recently, it seems to be the kind of the comedy legends that we're losing so seemingly quickly into the year. And then with Gilbert Gottfried, I mean, just, they're never going to be able to do Iago again. You know what I mean? Just like, that's it for that character. And man, I know he had there was a lot of controversial things that he's said and done over the years, but it doesn't discount the fact that he was a legend within the comedy world as well, and as an actor and a writer and a director. So, man, I'm that's it's tough.
Absolutely, but I mean, I think the approach, the attitude we always have on this program is that at least we have the incredible bodies of work that they've left behind to always remember and cherish them by, and both of these talented people have certainly left those for us to enjoy for years and years to come. But why don't we move right on? I believe I hear a banjo playing in the background, which can mean only one thing. It's trailer time. All right, well, get out your maple syrup and ketchup-flavored chips, because Canadian sketch comedy troupe The Kids in the Hall is making a return to our screens after a long hiatus. 27 years after the original series wrapped up on CBC, they're headed to Amazon Prime with a new season debuting May 13th. Produced by Lorne Michaels' Broadway video and Canadian production company, Project 10, the revival will see original members Dave Foley, Bruce McCulloch, Kevin McDonald, Mark McKinney, and Scott Thompson reunite for 8 episodes. I gotta say, I know it's one of those like cult Canadian things. I think it being 27 years old now, it was a little before my time. I never quite could get into the sketches of the original run, but watching this trailer, it's not just gonna start off where that one left. It felt of this time. The jokes actually were resonating with me in that trailer.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna be silly. They're gonna be more based on modern things that modern audiences will find funny. But for me, it's funny because like I would be coming at it with Dave Foley. Literally just knowing him by seeing him recently on Last One Laughing Canada, which if you haven't watched yet on Amazon Prime, I highly recommend you do. It's really fantastic. But like, I didn't really know him too much. I think the only sketch I've seen from the show is Bruce McCulloch doing the I'm squishing your head sketch over and over again, and I just seemingly remember quite a bit of that. And then for me, I'm most excited to see Mark McKinney, just because seeing him recently in Superstore, right. Yeah, and I'm stoked to see him play someone that's not necessarily Glenn, even though I love that character, and I hope there's something similar in this. But you know what? Like you said, I laughed at the trailer. It looks funny. I'll check it out. I'll have a good laugh, but I know that there's got to be some diehards, some Kids in the Hall diehards out there who are just totally amped about this.
Yeah, this is a legacy return for these guys to be coming in 27 years later, and people always still talking about them. Like, I think when people talk about sketch comedy, even in the States and SNL and the success of SNL, Kids in the Hall is very much a point of reference for that. And I feel like it's great to bring them back because in some ways they kind of helped infuse and add to that whole sort of style of showing. But also given the fact that they're going to be playing up the sort of skits where they're sort of absent-minded, older white dudes who are unwoke from certain situations, and each situation feels very, like, from that trailer, feels very of today, and just things that you'd be like, ooh, yeah, that's not gonna go over well, or yeah, that's a joke that feels very fitting for right now. The aesthetic of it too feels very much like a not necessarily too sketch comedy like Saturday Night Live, where it's like very live studio audience,
like on sets and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. This looks like very much narrative stories that are being told and sort of short segments. So
yeah, more like a Key and Peele style, right? Like,
yeah, because
exactly.
that is what they did. Yeah. They were often in hundreds of different locales. They were never limited to 5 or 6 sets that they had to keep reusing, like you would on an SNL. So it definitely brings you to that. I bet fans of Kids in the Hall who the only thing they've really had in these 27 years was 1996's Brain Candy, the full-length movie, which did not go over so well, at least with critics. No, this does look like it might be a bit more successful.
I just hope Kevin McDonald doesn't say anything too controversial that gets him kicked out of ever playing Pleakley again from Lilo and Stitch, because that's one of my favorite characters that he's ever done. So I'd love to see Pleakley come back.
Right on. He actually also plays a great youth pastor in an episode or two of that 70s show. That was a great little cameo bit that I always really enjoyed. So that's awesome. I mean, it's cool to see these guys get another crack at it, and you'd have to think if after 27 years they're bringing it back, it must be a worthwhile endeavor and not just because of it. So I guess we'll have to see how that goes. It's just about less than a month away. So Amazon Prime, get ready. Alrighty. Oh, God. Our next trailer is Crimes of the Future, an upcoming internationally co-produced body horror film written and directed by David Cronenberg. The film has the same name as a 1970 film by Cronenberg, but it is not a remake of said film. The film will premiere at the 2022 Cannes Film Festival, where it will be in competition for the Palme d'Or. Oh, the hand. I'm sure there'll be lots of severed hands in this movie. The movie stars Cronenberg regular Viggo Mortensen, as well as Léa Seydoux, Kristen Stewart, and Scott Speedman. I will say I never saw the original, and I can all but assure you I won't be seeing this one.
You'll never see this one, yeah.
I think Cronenberg can make a great film. Eastern Promises, History of Violence. But then there's his work in the body horror genre, such as The Fly, Videodrome, The Brood, and a bunch of other disgusting movies. To say they're not my style is the understatement of the century.
Well, speaking of not your style, I mean, not only does this look like body horror, but it looks like art house body horror, which is that's just a double negative for Kevin. So maybe I'll actually like it. But seeing like, some kid sitting there eating a clay pot, there's a chair made of teeth and bones, and a guy with his mouth stitched together with ears on his head. Like, I'm intrigued.
The time to see is over. The time to speak is over.
It's time to listen. Yeah, I think, if you got a chance to check out the international trailer, it does give you a little bit more in terms of what's seemingly going on. There was an article from Deadline back in April. I'll give you a quick description that they dropped. Taking a deep dive into the not-so-distant future where humankind is learning to adapt to its synthetic surroundings. This evolution moves humans beyond their natural state into a metamorphosis, altering their biological makeup. While some embrace the limitless potential of transhumanism, others attempt to police it. Either way, accelerated evolution syndrome is spreading fast. Saul Tenser is a beloved performance artist who has embraced accelerated evolution syndrome, sprouting new and unexpected organs in his body. Along with his partner Caprice, Tenser has turned the removal of these organs into a spectacle for his loyal followers to marvel at in real time. But with both the government and strange subculture taking note, Tenser is forced to consider what would be his most shocking performance of all. So,
fun for me.
Right. And apparently Bloody Disgusting I think a few months ago, apparently they had an anonymous source say that they saw a screening of the movie, and Cronenberg is not holding back. Like, it's expected that in the third act, people are going to apparently, like, leave the theater. They're expecting people to have panic attacks watching this. Like, I've not really dived into too much Cronenberg stuff outside of the jokes of hearing about Cronenbergian things in, like, Rick and Morty and what have you. So, like, have you guys, like, Justin, you're more of the art fan. Have you watched a lot of Cronenberg stuff?
I've watched a lot of his stuff, especially in like when I was in university for all the different classes I took, like horror genre, sci-fi genre. He's kind of touched on everything. I remember watching Crash in an age when I just did not understand what this movie was about. But again, Kevin mentioned two of my favorite movies that he's done, A History of Violence and Eastern Promises, which I think, again, he knows how to tell stories that have tension and can feed off of that tension. And here he's playing with the visual tension, very much like even like Fly to a certain degree, which really kind of pushes the boundaries of what our expectations of sci-fi and horror. It's just kind of that fusion of those two genres in one movie with a great cast. This is probably a big, as you were saying, Nate, like in that third act, if people are going to be walking out having panic attacks, I do think this is a big fuck you to the Hollywood industry to just kind of do a movie like this that's so intense that may really kind of be speaking to, I think, Cronenberg's so passionate. He always infuses a commentary of what he believes into his films, and I think that he is going to try to be saying something.
I feel like but Justin, I feel like it's neon, which I know for a lot of people can sort of go back and forth between A24 and neon. And so, like, I feel like it's going to be one of those movies that, like, if we manage to get Kevin to go see it, he'll just come out, he'll be really mad, he'll be really red in the face and just upset that we made him do that. And then I'll be coming out of it and be like, I don't know if I really liked it. And then you'll talk me into liking it somehow. Like, you're going to, like, find the meaning in this insane movie with these people with ears on their head. And I'm going to, like, be like, wait, do I do like this movie? I will say I'm excited. The only thing I'm probably excited for hearing about is that Howard Shore, who did the music for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, is going to be doing the music for this Cronenberg movie. So it'll be I'm really intrigued to see how different it is from what I'm used to with hearing most of Howard Shore's music.
You know what, boys? You could offer to pay for my movie ticket for the next year, and I probably wouldn't take you up on it. So I look forward to hearing about it in a whatcha in a future episode.
Yeah, maybe we'll get to review it. We'll try.
But speaking of looking forward to, I think it's time to move to our main event. We've been waiting for this for what feels like years, but is probably more accurately just a few months. And while it wasn't a full trailer, the teaser gave us so much to get excited about. Of course, I'm talking about Thor: Love and Thunder, the upcoming sequel to Thor Ragnarok and the 29th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Film's directed once again by Taika Waititi, who co-wrote the screenplay with Jennifer Caton Robinson, and stars all of our favorites, including Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, Natalie Portman, Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Sean Gunn, Jeff Goldblum, Vin Diesel, and Bradley Cooper, and also introduces some new characters played by Christian Bale and Russell Crowe. An early synopsis of the movie says that in the film, Thor recruits Valkyrie, Korg, and Jane Foster, who is now the mighty Thor, to stop Gore the God Butcher from eliminating all gods. This one comes our way July 8th, and frankly, that is too bloody long to wait.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes and no, because again, we were talking about how, like, there is so much Marvel that we have between then and now, especially with the Disney Plus series that we're going to be getting into. This looks so much fun, dude. It looks so colorful. I'm actually happy it was a teaser. Guns N' Roses' Sweet Child of Mine is just perfect to be putting in this, and I loved the training montage. Did you see his hat says, like, his trucker hat says Strongest Avenger? Like, if Disney isn't already putting those into production, like, come on. I need one right now.
At first, I don't know if it really hit me as something to get excited about, right? Like, there's some great visuals, but I think that this is a different story with that. I think really the idea is that they're trying to, I think, find a way that Thor is kind of changing his ways and just kind of moving into a sort of retirement phase. Like, I definitely get the vibe that this is sort of like a Little Miss Sunshine or even a Hunt for the Wilder People, if that's a better reference.
Okay.
Just a coming of age sort of road trip sort of style to this story that is of an adventure. I'm wondering if that's kind of the vibe I got from it. It's going to have action. It's going to have a lot of that. But they subverted all of that to really kind of showcase this is Thor's story.
No, I mean, that makes total sense. It's Taika Waititi. It's a Taika Waititi-ass storyline to have Thor growing, finally moving on from his old life, and then Jane comes back and he's instantly hit with the fact that like his old love is back, but she doesn't feel the same way, and then she's like, and also I'm dying. Like, that to me, that's a Taika Waititi movie, even if you remove the superheroes. So I'm stoked for this, like, more than ever. I think the fact that we get Korg back in this, I'm so happy to see that he seems like he's actually going along for the adventure. There's so much that I can pick apart from this trailer, but I'll let Kevin kind of chime in here.
Well, yeah, no, you definitely see Korg on the boat being pulled by the magical goats as they zip down the Bifrost to visit Russell Crowe's Zeus. I mean, stoked to see him cram himself into some super tight body armor. I think that'll be a treat. I definitely think the teaser might be a bit misleading as to the kind of tone we're going to get for the whole movie. I mean, there is a villain that needs to find his way into this story, and he is trying to kill all of the gods. So I'm not sure if it'll be a happy, upbeat story of self-discovery on a road trip for the whole thing.
Of course not. Of course not. It's gonna have a villain. He's a god killer.
Yeah.
He's gonna be there. But they've subdued all that.
Film.
No, for sure. No, it's not gonna be a little light film. But the reality is that if you take a look at the first teaser trailer, they didn't show you any of that. They just leaned into showing you the story of Thor and the sort of journey that he's on, because it has been so long since we have seen him, since Endgame, and now to see, a reminder of things that he's kind of feeling before all hell breaks loose. So there's a lot of things that are left out, while there's a lot of things that they give you in this teaser to just kind of set it up. But I think the most important part is that it's going to be about sort of Thor finding his way through this
and moving on. Right? I think that's the biggest aspect, is he's moving on. You get the moment where he plants Stormbreaker. It almost makes me feel like one day, like,
or he walks away.
Yeah, and
he walks away when the Guardians of the Galaxies run out. He turns around and walks the.
I mean, he does grab Stormbreaker to bring with him. It's not like he's leaving it behind. He needs to propel the Bifrosts. That's how he's doing the Bifrost. But you see him on the boat, standing there. Right? I think that must take place after. I just love that it's been 3 years, but we've had so much Marvel that it's like, it's been so long since we've seen Thor. That is the normal time between sequels. That it takes to write and produce and film and everything. But because Marvel is just pumping so much out, there
so
is
much
such
has
a
happened.
World in between.
Exactly.
It's so crazy that's
so
the case.
It's kind of pushed Thor to the side, especially given the fact that we haven't seen anything up until now, which is 150 days or less till the movie comes out. So I think it's actually way less. It's probably closer to like,
no, it's about 120, somewhere in between 120, 150. It's like 5 months away. 4 months. 4 months.
I do just want to shout out, though, like, again, going back to them using Sweet Child of Mine, like Bright Blue Sky in the lyrics just plays into the idea of like freedom from being a superhero. And then we get to also see that love interest on the boat, and she's got that bright blue hair. And I'm just wondering, like, obviously she's going to be a big catalyst for him to go on this sort of pirate adventure. I also just want to shout out, like, Natalie Portman, man. Jane Foster looks incredible. She's got Mjolnir back. It's all cracked. I love it. And I'm just wondering if this is going to be a one and done for her, because, in the comic books, Jane Foster gets diagnosed with cancer, and while going through chemo, she becomes Lady Thor. But in doing so, every time she does become Lady Thor, it pushes her progress back. So essentially, it's killing her. And so I'm just wondering if that's going to be their way of sort of saying, okay, not only is our Thor moving on, but we're going to be moving on from Thor entirely, just because it might not be the best thing unless they find some multiversal way or something that happens in the next Doctor Strange or what have you to sort of cure Jane, or maybe that's part of what Gore is doing or what have you. You know what I mean? Like, they could find a way to continue her. I just don't know if Natalie Portman wants to.
I agree with you. I think she's agreed to come back because she has a huge amount of respect for Taika Waititi, and I'm sure Taika actually went to her to get her on board for this project because he wanted to close out her story, and she was on board for that. So I think it is very likely that this is a one and done. Whether Thor decides to just go into Valhalla and the spirit world and be wherever, right? I feel like, who knows what the future will hold for another Thor to hold the hammer. If we're seeing Jane, then we're very likely going to see someone else down the road hold the hammer.
Frog Thor.
You know what I mean?
Frog Thor comes back.
For sure.
Let's hope not. I mean, I'm pretty sure in the comics, her getting the power, her proving to be worthy, and then because she is worthy, and by holding the hammer, like Odin says in the first movie, those who are worthy get the powers imbued on them. I'm pretty sure that the power of Thor is what cures her cancer. So I don't think it's going to be something where she's Thor until the cancer, leads her to die or anything like that. But that's an easy character to, now I'm going to go off and do some interplanetary, worldly things and not be on screen. But then you could bring her back in 5-6 years for a cameo. Like, I don't know if this will be the last time we see her or even Thor. I just really hope they didn't spoil that moment we first see her on screen in the trailer here, because those are huge pops for a theater. You know what I mean? Like that the Mjolnir whip into Cap's hand was such a huge pop moment that I hope that isn't her first appearance on screen as the mighty Thor, just because those things should almost be saved for in the actual theater for those experiences.
But Kevin, there's going to be, the next trailer is going to have Zeus. Russell Crowe's going to be on screen just like laughing or something, and it'll be the final cut of the trailer. And then we're going to get Gore the God Butcher revealed as well, and we'll see him in there. Like, I agree. I don't want necessarily like the intro segment in there, but Marvel trailer is going to Marvel trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just how,
and they're so smart.
Yeah, for sure.
They know what they're doing. I'm not too worried they're blowing their load in a teaser trailer. They have plenty up their sleeve.
And I think that's why it was a smart move to downplay this teaser trailer a little bit more with a story-centric focus rather than an epic sort of
Marvel connected
teaser trailer that kind of pounds home this like, oh my god, can't wait for Thor, and like giving us Gore the God Butcher. Like, I'm glad that they held back on that. And again, the teaser trailer just does a really good job to show how the story is going to be about Thor's journey through this, right? And then we'll get that next big meaty trailer that's going to kind of fill out some of those more epic moments that it doesn't necessarily feel as soft.
Well, I'm just excited to see how something like Moon Knight, now that we're dealing with new gods and everything like that, which is, I think, going to be a pretty big focus of this movie, is the slaying of gods. And I think Moon Knight coming out before this is very intentional to set up these earthly gods in addition to the Asgardian ones, and then the Greek pantheon of gods and everything like that.
And the Eternals with like the Erishams of the world and stuff.
Yeah, and so it'll be very exciting to see where that goes. I'm sure between now and July, we'll definitely get at least one epic, massive, raise the hair on your arms trailer. But I don't know, you're so underwhelmed compared to my excitement after that. I saw that it got
I just
dropped,
don't know.
And I just went, whoa.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited that it got dropped, but I'm glad that it wasn't like, get hyped for this movie. It was a soft sort of like, hey, this movie is about Thor. There's going to be some stuff that
his
he's
name
gonna have
is in
to
the
go
title.
through.
Of course, it's about him.
I know, but it's not just. Again, you know what I mean though when I say like it could be a whole scale of epic teaser that is just pushing like the visuals and trying to show. It does show a bit more of this sort of core of this movie being Thor, right? Not the sort of epic what it's doing for the multiverse, and what
for
it's
the Marvel
doing for the universe.
Yes,
cinematic
I don't
universe.
necessarily care about that. I just want to see a Taika Waititi Thor movie, and this teaser shows that it is going to be
Totally.
a Taika Waititi Thor movie, and that's what I want more than anything.
Hunt for the Wilder People, Thor style. I totally agree.
Oh no, I don't think it's going to be nearly that subdued. But that wraps it up for another edition of Trailer Time. Before we wrap up the program entirely, why don't we shift over to Whatcha and find out what you guys have been watching, playing, reading, anything like that. Justin, you want to start us off here? What you been up to?
Well, I checked out the show that we were talking about last week, Outer Range.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was going to talk about this week as well.
Yeah, exactly. I checked it out on Amazon Prime. I liked it. I liked the first 2 episodes. They're definitely giving you more right off the bat. Like 2 episodes in, and there's a lot of questions still, but
you think they've given
not
us
holding
anything?
back.
They haven't given us anything based on the trailer. I have more questions than I could possibly handle right now.
Well, I'm gonna say this as much. It's not aliens, but it's time. That's what I think it is. I don't think it's aliens anymore. I think it's time. So I think that it's very Lost, Nate.
I'm in. Lost with Cowboys.
Exactly, Lost Cowboys. There you go.
So
I feel like they're just not they're not holding back. Like in episode 2, at the end there, I thought like, okay, like this is wacky. Like what is happening, right? So
yeah, I mean they're certainly answering questions, but for every answer we get, there's 8 more, and I mean they have to start showing
that's what you
some
want.
Things, and so by the end of that second episode, sure they show us something, but it's not like it's like, oh, I see where this is going. I'm like, okay, now I actually have less of an idea about where this show might be going. I posted a little tweet about watching it over the weekend, and I said my synopsis for the first 2 episodes, and I had a gif of Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec singing "The Pit, I fell into the pit." That's all I could think while watching it. But no, there's some great performances by certainly Josh Brolin, and then
so
Imogen Poot. She's really, really great and creepy and mysterious, and yeah, I'm almost bummed this is a once a week sort of endeavor now, because this feels very, very binge worthy, and I think I would have spent my entire Sunday hammering through this one. So the thought of waiting for another week is kind of got me itching.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a great way to kind of pull at the thread of the mystery box and keep you wondering. So I think that the first 2 episodes do a really great job of at least setting up the weirdness and setting up a groundwork for what to anticipate, while also, like you said, Kevin, just questioning everything you think and whatever you're seeing, because there is such a balance. And I love shows that do this, where it's like they're giving you some answers and then they're kind of holding back on things, right? Or they're raising more questions. We talked about it even with Moon Knight in our watch clubs, right? Like how it does seem to answer things without really trying to go full-fledged and leaving mystery around certain things. So I think it's doing a great job. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, and I mean, we joked when we talked about it last week that I was joking, oh, this is, Yellowstone meets Nope. And I'm happy to say it's not that at all, and it's going to be something completely different, which is excellent. So definitely go check that out. It is streaming now on Amazon Prime. But Nate, how about yourself? Whatcha?
I've been. I think it's really cool when these shows and these series can bring in people who might not necessarily be originally interested in what the shows are centering around, but because they're so dramatic and the way that they're retelling these stories. I'm not a huge sports fan, but obviously Winning Time has been such a delight to watch week to week. I've really been enjoying that. And again, I'm not a huge basketball or Lakers anything, but I've really found it so fascinating to the point where I've been like reading stuff about it and looking up stuff about it. It's been really good. That's not necessarily my watcha. I do have another watcha, but Justin, what you look like you want to say something about Winning Time.
Well, we should definitely do a finale discussion.
I would definitely sit down to talk about the whole series, because I knew I was gonna be interested. It's such an interesting time in basketball, and it's such an interesting story. But the presentation, how they're telling this story has just been riveting stuff. I've really been enjoying it. I'm actually probably when we wrap this podcast, going to go and watch the latest episode, and I'm stoked to do so.
Yeah, no, and I think, again, you called it out, the basketball, the sports, that's what draws you in because you're very interested in that history and what it's done for the game itself. I think for me, it's the presentation, knowing that Adam McKay's behind that and the way that this really does have an Adam McKay style, but it's done in a producing capacity. So good. I actually watched the latest episode just before we recorded, and it was great. So,
dude, I'm stoked to keep watching it, but like I was saying, like, again, I'm not huge into sports. I'm also not huge into like the corporate structure of companies, but I've honestly really been enjoying We Crashed on Apple TV Plus. It's it's got another transformative role with Jared Leto as Adam Newman, and Anne Hathaway as his wife Rebecca Newman, and Kyle Marvin as Miguel McKelvey, who they ultimately started this company called WeWork quite a while ago now, and it sort of just shows how they started as a small startup, and then they almost get so big. It's like the whole aspect of like, who's that guy that touches the sun or whatever? What's that guy's name?
Icarus.
Icarus. Yes, exactly.
They fly too close to it.
They fly way too close to the sun, and they become incredibly narcissistic. And it's just interesting watching the show and sort of, usually you want to root for your main characters, but as each episode comes out, I'm hating them more and more and more and more, and frustrated by them more and more and more, just based off of the things they're doing and the ways they're acting that are just completely tanking, this company. And there's so many great people that work for them that are unfortunately just these sort of bystanders. And it's just really interesting to sort of watch week to week. I highly recommend, if you have the opportunity to watch it. It's not going to be one of those shows, that's going to sort of catch you and be like, I have to watch the next episode. I have to watch the next episode. But it's been interesting enough to the point where I've sort of even looked into the actual history and where Adam Newman is now. And I definitely recommend We Crashed. Got to check it out.
Nice. Well, that is it for This Week in Geek. Hopefully, as we continue to grow and bring you more content, we don't grow too fast and it gets to our head and
I'm already there,
suddenly implode. We want to be coming at you week to week and episode by episode for a long time coming. Thanks for tuning in wherever you listen to podcasts. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and leave us a glowing review. We always appreciate the love. And also, you can always reach out and say hi, ask us questions about any of the news or trailers covered today. Are you more stoked about Thor than Justin? Just kidding, Justin. Let us know. You can hit us up at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com, or if that disgusts you more than Cronenberg's fascination with body mutilation, hit us up on Twitter at GeekcentricYT and Instagram at wearegeekcentric. Keep in mind, we also have a ton of other episodes covering a variety of other content, with new content always coming your way. Our latest ongoing Watch Club series for Disney Plus's Moon Knight is coming at you every single week. And just like the show you're listening to right now, This Week in Geek, we're coming at you every week with the latest in news, movies, and trailers. But until next time, Jayla, Nate, thanks for joining me for This Week in Geek. And as we say,
love ya.
Get home safe, guys.
Peace.